So we're back. Fuck yes. Welcome to After the Hype. I'm your host, as always, Brian Dressel. With me, as always, is really not a lot of the people that are usually here, but we have CHEWIE Darso.
I'm enough.
And new co-host, Emily Blake.
Ooh, hi.
I was going to introduce you in the last flashback episode. I was going to record like a new intro, oh, and if you haven't been paying attention online, we now have Emily Blake on every episode. And then I got lazy and didn't do it. So today is your intro.
Okay.
It's
a little less exciting.
A little less, but I mean, it could have been horrible me screaming in my car, or you can say it for yourself.
Okay.
I feel better about that.
All right.
Because we wanted to bring you on so you can say things, not so I can just say things about you, right?
I mean, you could say great things about me.
I did that in Elvis's podcast.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
actually, you
cool.
did get an introduction in the Tom Hanks Giving podcast.
All right.
Which that should air before this one comes out, right?
Well, yeah, then we're good to go.
Okay, well, then I've been properly introduced. All right, okay.
You just have to listen to a different show to hear the proper introduction. So if you couldn't guess from that, we have special guest Elvis Kunesh here.
Hello.
From the Tom Hanks Giving podcast.
Yes, howdy. I'm pleased to be on the premiere of the new season of After the Hype.
Yeah,
is this the new season?
This is kind of. We've never taken a break before, so this past month was the first break we've taken in 5 years.
So that makes this season 2.
This would be season 2.
Wow.
Yeah, episode 201. I'm not going to change the numbering because we're really close to episode 200, and I'm excited about that. But this would be
and you'll
201.
have missed 200 if you start at 201.
Exactly. So I could either just keep plowing forward and get a 200th episode, or, fuck everything. And I don't want to fuck everything.
Okay.
Elvis, what do you have coming up on your podcast? Anything to plug?
Well, the end of the show. When does this one come out? We're running down to the last episodes of
this
Tom
comes
Hanks
out July 6th.
Okay, so this will be right after our Band of Brothers episode, which
Yep.
Brian was on. We talk about the entire HBO series.
Great Tom
produced.
Hanks.
So much Tom Hanks in that show, which I did not know about, and I'll talk about extensively on that episode. And then after that, actually only 5 more episodes until we wrap into hibernation until he makes another movie.
Wow. You've watched all of them.
I have to finish season 2 of Bosom Buddies.
I
and
was
then I'll
about
watch
to ask
everything.
about Bosom
Buddies.
Buddies. Okay.
Yeah.
That is one note I had while watching The Burbs, actually, last night.
He makes a good-looking woman.
Oh, yeah. Like, those eyes. He's
Oh,
got
yeah.
some beautiful eyes.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
that's why they cast him in Bosom Buddies.
Exactly.
And then we have first-time guest Jason Blagman here. Hi, Jason.
Hey there.
We've been trying to get you on for a while.
Yeah, it's been, you keep sending me the calendar and I keep looking for the right one to jump in on and ask you if I could be on it.
And even this one, you were kind of like,
I was indifferent.
I guess.
Yeah, I was indifferent about this one because Logan is a good movie, but yeah, we'll get into it.
Yeah, we have a whole hour to talk about it.
Oh my god.
I know.
Yeah, okay.
There's so much to talk about. Do you have anything you want to plug or no?
Not really.
Should people follow you online?
Yeah, my Twitter, that Jason William. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Jason Williams.
Yep, because my last name didn't sound as I guess smooth. I don't know. But yeah, I'm at my Twitter. My Twitter is that Jason William, and yeah, and that's about it.
That's it.
Just a guy watching movies.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we should do a where have you been doing? I know Jason was really excited about his, so I'll let him go first.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So what is this? This is my first time to the show, so this is essentially we talk about what we've been.
Yeah, just one thing you've been watching recently.
I'll do the good and the bad. The good is Oh Hello, which is unbelievable, and which is unbelievable. It was just so effing funny. Which is the Nick Mulaney, what's his Nick Kroll and John Mulaney.
Yeah, okay. No,
Two old guys on
the
Broadway.
two old guys on Broadway. Yeah, okay. I was like that sounds familiar, but I don't know.
And then, but the one thing that I really was excited to talk about was the Iron Fist.
You loved it.
It was the everything about it is put together. I just didn't agree with the writing, and I thought that there's a lot in it that just felt off, I should say. Like from the macro to the micro of different things. So as an example, if you were to go into example, and it's how long has it been out? Like I don't want to spoil too much of it.
Spoil away.
Okay, so
I have never watched it. Actually, at this point, from everyone's reviews, I don't really intend to.
Spoil away.
It's something you and then it gave up.
Yeah, well, I think you watch it and maybe you do something else while you're watching it, like just so you get it, because
that's what I did.
The Defenders, it will go in with the defenders a lot. But micro level, earlier on in the season, Danny Rand is called crazy. He's put in an institution. He calls the one friend he has and says, listen, this very all-important corporation is chasing after me. And to the person on the other end of the line, he sounds crazy. And she's like, why would a multi-billion corporation be after you? That sounds insane. You must be wrong. And then what does the multi-billion corporation do? It sends the highest person to that other person's place to say, we're looking for Danny Rand, which just validates that he's actually telling the truth. When in reality, they shouldn't have done that to begin with.
So you're saying it's poorly written?
I think it's a little, yeah. But that's it. And then on a macro, on different levels, like they kept saying throughout the season, like, Danny, you're only a child. You act like a child, and he doesn't really refute that.
Nope.
And nor does the writing, because like he throws tantrums in the show, and rightfully so. Like the way they wrote him. I understand why they did it this way, but I just didn't agree with it. And like when he finds out that he's under surveillance, that his life has been under surveillance by the Hand, he throws a tantrum and starts breaking things just because of how angry he is.
Yeah,
it's like stuff like that, and the overall arc felt weird. I wasn't rooting for anyone in the show.
I was rooting for, I don't remember the actress's name, the girl who owns the dojo.
Rosario Dawson?
No, the girl who owns the dojo that he stays at.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she was great.
She was great, but even she wasn't a genuine character. Like
no.
To be completely frank, I was rooting for the father until he turns out to be the real bad guy. But like,
he's a good actor too.
He was a great actor, but I was like, oh shit. So he is out for himself, but he does want to get the Hand, which is what everyone sort of wants to do until we get to that certain point. But I was still sort of like, oh no, he's legit because he has power.
Yep.
He has power, and he has hands everywhere. I loved that idea until he was really evil, and then he wasn't the guy you should be rooting for.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
That was a curse your son, but inevitable betrayal moment.
Yeah, so. I wasn't rooting for Danny Rand. I don't care about I don't know.
About you, period.
Yeah, but the show was... I'm not saying at all that the show was unwatchable or by any means. It was entertaining. I just didn't agree with the writing.
I would go with it's unwatchable, but that's me. There's like 3 episodes I think you could watch and be somewhat entertained, but other than that, skip it. Emily, what about you? What have you been doing?
I've been listening to the audiobook of The Princess Diarest, which is Carrie Fisher's book that she wrote about Star Wars. And she reads it, and so it's great. And then, because she also does accents, which is amazing. When she's imitating all the British people who worked on the movie, she's doing their accents. And in like the middle of the book, or maybe toward the beginning, I guess, she breaks, and her daughter reads a bunch of like free form poetry or stream of consciousness stuff she wrote both then and now. So she just reads things that Leia, Jesus Christ, that Carrie just wrote, and then it goes back and Carrie continues talking. So she does talk about her relationship with Harrison Ford, but she also talks about what being Leia has meant to her, and she talks about like. She calls them lap dances all the time. She has to go to cons and get people to and sign things for people, and both the good and the bad of that. And she does these long stretches where she'll just talk as if she's a person talking to her at the con. And she's just like, "Oh, you're so great. Did I ever tell you I used to masturbate to you when I was a kid?" And she'll just do this whole long monologue imitating a person, but it's never like. She also talks frankly about how that makes her feel, because she's like, on the one hand, that makes me feel weird. On the other hand, like, I'm grateful that I could be your first crush. That meant so much to you, that like this character is someone I keep charge of, and it's really fascinating to listen to her talk about the good and the bad of this celebrity that she became out of fucking nowhere. Because that's the other thing she talks about, is like how crazy that was to do this little no budget film, and they were prepared to just go on the road and try to get people to watch it. And then all of a sudden it was the biggest. It's something that has never happened before or since, as far as like the magnitude of what that movie became, and no one was prepared for it. I mean, she grew up in a famous family, and still she was not prepared for that at all. It's a really fascinating book.
Would you recommend reading it or listening to it?
I mean, I read Wishful Drinking, and it's still really entertaining, but something about listening to her and doing the accents and laughing, and especially since she's gone
Sure
now.
she adds more life to it.
Yeah, she talks a lot about how she wants to be perceived after she's dead, too. And that's just sort of like listening to that. I teared up a couple times because I was like, one thing she talks about is how much she wants to be liked. She just desperately wants people to like her. And she has a line, I wish I'd memorized it, something about she wants to be like fireworks going off in your sky. That's not it, but something like that. And I was just like, well, you definitely achieved that.
Yeah. Chewie, what about you?
Well, it's been a whole month.
I know. So pick
All of
one.
the things. Well, one thing I did when I had my 1 week off between jobs is specifically one day I rewatched all of the Mission Impossible films that we had. We don't have 2. I tried to find a place to stream it. It is very not popular. No one likes
sucked.
2.
No, hold on.
Very bad.
2's fun.
No.
Apparently, no one thinks that because we don't own it,
That's
and I
the
know
one-
it's not streaming anywhere.
That's the one with what's his name from Harry Potter.
That's the one with all the doves.
That's
They
the one
just
with the
keep
doves.
flying.
That's Stanley
That-
Newton, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's with the
He's the motorcycle
the
fight.
virus. The virus.
I don't
that's
even
released.
remember. I think I've seen it maybe once.
Yeah, me
I
too.
didn't see it in
I
theaters.
actually never seen the first one.
You never seen the first
Still
one?
need to.
Oh, I have it. We could lend it to you. I rewatched it. But
Did you?
I did. And it's a lot of fun to see his character change. I mean, it is Tom Cruise. Ethan Hunt is Tom Cruise.
Oh, yeah.
And as he's gotten older, he's gotten more extreme and he's gotten a little bit more arrogant, but also like he's done this for so long that he's just like, it's not that serious, guys, type of attitude almost. Like he's doing it. He's not thinking about it, and he's kind of having fun the whole time. And so it's like, where's the difference between Ethan Hunt and Tom Cruise? Because they're really just the same person at this point.
All right.
And
Elvis, what about
we could
you?
do a whole thing on the Mission
Oh
Impossible
my
films.
gosh. Well, I'll try and make it more brief, but just this week I've been to the theater a shit ton, and I've seen a lot of great stuff. I saw Baby Driver. I saw My Neighbor Totoro on the big screen.
Oh, I wanted to do that.
That's delightful. I also saw It Comes at Night and The Big Sick, and of course I watched The Burbs last night.
How did you think of It Comes
There's
at
a lot of
Night?
movies.
I liked it.
So did we.
Yeah, I found it more interesting than viscerally compelling. But so what you guys liked It Comes at Night as well?
That was going to be my Where Have You Been Doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
sorry.
No, it's fine. I can still do
Transition actually.
it.
Right
Yeah.
now.
Okay. I saw It Comes at Night. If there's ever like one of those movies that gets like the Midnight Award, or like it's like the horror movie of the year, like I always make it a point to see them. That's how I saw like Babadook and a number of other ones, and I usually end up really liking them. This one I think was the most misrepresented horror film
So
of all
much.
time.
That's what I wanted to
It's
ask. I
not
wanted
a
to ask you
horror
both.
film.
Is it? I know the premise.
Do you?
For anyone
Because
who,
the advertising
no, for
is
anyone
very
who doesn't,
different.
Yeah.
for anyone who is
Yeah.
listening who doesn't, it's basically what is it? It's the end of the world, sort of.
The world was over.
The world's
yeah,
over.
This
Yeah.
is the aftermath.
Yeah, and it's basically like the world was over. It was a disease that wiped out humanity.
Okay.
And there's
Well,
a family
see,
living.
that's where you
But no monkeys.
Yeah, no. It's really just like you're not sure what happened, but it's basically everyone assumes that it's a disease that wiped out humanity, and now there's people hiding in a cabin to try to stay healthy.
Right. Apparently, it's the mystery that was the horror in the movie. Like the mystery of what's going on is the horror aspect of this
Nope.
movie.
no.
And-
Nope,
not at all.
It's
Well,
not a
so
horror movie.
It's
That's the thing.
it is a character study of a family trying to survive.
I would say there is horror in it, but it's not horror.
Right.
horror.
It's
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
It's more of a suspense film.
It is really it is. I think it is just that. It's a character study. It is a group of people in a cabin trying to survive. And like, if you know where it came from, like creative wise, it came from a guy who was not attached to his dad at all. Got in touch with his dad when he was dying of cancer. After his dad died of cancer, he wrote this movie.
Which I don't really see the connection there.
I'd need to watch it again under that thought process, but I get the whole like you love family because they're family even if you don't really get along with them, and death is inevitable. And that is, for me, the theme of the movie. Like, no matter what you do, even if you survive the disease, you're still going to die because that's just human nature. And you love these people because you're a family, you might not particularly like them. And that is the theme of that movie. At least that's how I took it, and if that's where it came from creatively, I think they did a great job with it. And I think it's a movie a lot of people would enjoy if they didn't think it was about a monster in the woods that comes at night. We need to move on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This is a long Where Have You Been Doing? I'm going to cut a lot of this shit down because we have Logan to talk about.
Logan.
Hooray for Logan.
Oh, Logan.
But okay, so Logan came out earlier this year, and people immediately said it's going to be the best comic book movie of the year, we're going to see. I still think it's going to be Wonder Woman, but that's just my taste. Cost about $100 million, made about $600 million, so I think we'll get Logan too, right? Right?
I don't
Actually,
really
I
see
was-
why it cost so much. It must have been all in the cast.
$100 million? I mean,
There's
a
not
lot
that
of-
many locations. It's all like exteriors.
But they went practical. They were in 4 different states.
I guess.
yeah, and there's a lot of explosions and buckets of blood.
Yeah.
was not that buckets of blood. I think a lot of that blood was probably CG'd.
There is
Are
there's
buckets
the
of blood
CG.
expensive?
They
It can
got to be
be.
at least $20.
They
right?
also didn't get a
that shit adds
second.
up.
They also didn't get a second Hugh Jackman, like all of that. They had to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They had
there's,
to-
there's
they-
that one Back to the Future 2 shot where it's
Yeah.
like, holy shit, when you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely had to digital him down a little bit to make him a little younger. So
I mean, he doesn't
So-
look nearly as rough as they were portraying him. There was good makeup on both sides of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. So there we go.
somewhere in the middle.
So there's your
Also-
$100 million right there.
Also, there's horses in this movie. That always costs fucking a
Yeah, that's
lot.
like $500,000 right there.
Okay, guys.
4 of them.
Yep.
And not to mention they had to create those, driverless trucks. I'm sure that cost a lot of money.
They just pushed him on dollies.
That would be hilarious. Just the behind the scenes, just art department in green suits. Just am I going fast enough? Faster, Jimmy. Oh, that'd be great. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it. The reviews were stellar. I'm just gonna skip all the reviews because they were great. People really loved it, and we'll talk about whether or not they're right.
Fun story. I actually saw it with all the critics.
Oh yeah,
I went to the critic screening, and I never went to a critic screening before, but it was like 2 rows behind me. I'm like, oh my god, that's Joe Morgan's turn. Oh my god, and then like I saw it with I went with the guys from Rotten Tomatoes, and it was weird because they filled the front couple rows in our theater with fans, so they were doing. They were doing regular screenings for fans early just to get the hype around, and so they brought in for the front row seats, like the 3 front row seats that are like the really bad seats in the theater.
yeah.
They were like just fans cheering, and it was sort of interesting walking out with all of them, and everyone was just like they're just nodding their heads, going and that was pretty good. I was genuinely happy with that, and it was sort of weird. They weren't showing a lot of the critics weren't showing a lot of emotion, but they were all just like nodding their heads, just like in
It's like the exact opposite how
approval.
they walked out of like Batman vs Superman, just going shame.
Well, I'm sure they walked out going like, what?
I
But-
still love that movie, by the way, but I understand I'm alone.
You're not alone, honey.
I know
We have people on our
there's
side.
dozens of us. Dozens.
Dozens. We will rise.
Martha, man.
Time. It is on our side.
Whoa.
I was dramatic.
Yeah, we have some new equipment here at After the Hype, and it is a little pingy.
We're going to go to Foam Mart on Burbank and Victory to drop that thing to a
Foam
business I have no
Comedy
attachment
and
to.
Yeah.
Season 2 is just bringing
Yeah,
it.
yeah, we're just all with the practical sound effects.
I keep accidentally hitting my microphone.
Yeah.
So sorry about that.
That's fine. I mean, they're all just. This is just great stuff right here.
I keep accidentally licking
Maybe we
mine.
could
Is
get
that
phone
cool?
stuff for our
Stop
mics,
blowing
too.
it. We'll be okay.
Are we doing a Foley session now?
Yeah. This would be great. Okay, I think it's time for a breakdown. Jason, are you ready for this?
Probably not. I read your no.
Logan, in 30 seconds. Go.
So Logan it takes place in his final years of his life, and I'm not good with pressure. No, okay, so Logan
20 seconds.
Yeah. Logan is about the final years of Logan in his life, and after everything that he's gone through, he's gotten old and disheveled, and he apparently takes on a more rated R mentality. With that being said, he finds a daughter. Listen, you're counting down. No, I'm not. If you don't count, then it's less pressure.
Oh, I got to keep the pressure up or it's not fun.
Jason did not win.
No, it's because
Oh, Jason, I'm going to go with a strong fail on that one.
Definitely.
I will say good first attempt.
I honestly thought, to be frank, I thought you were going to do it and I was going to do it. We were both going to I don't know.
It's only 30 seconds.
No, I know. No, I know. But I thought like, and you guys will be doing a 30-second breakdown. I was like, okay, so maybe Elvis go first, and then I'll see how it's done, or something like that.
Oh,
I
no.
don't know.
No. The more flustered you get, the happier I am as a podcast host. So
Great.
this went perfectly.
Perfect.
Okay, let's get into this thing.
Without the 30 seconds, for anyone who wants the movie to be spoiled, this movie is about the final. I want to say the final weeks. It takes place over about 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah, I think about it because
The
he
final-
mentions at the end of the movie, he says to the girl, "I met you a week ago."
Yeah. So this is the story of the end of Logan, and starting the movie, you don't know that, and you find a very different Logan compared to everything we've seen prior. I would always call this movie, takes place in the X-Men universe, but I will never call this a proper X-Men film.
It's
And that's not in the negative way. I think I really love the fact they basically said, let's look at it from a different view, let's play around with it, and let's make it grittier and different. And I love that. I fucking love that. And so this movie is very much of, let's take Logan on his own. Don't put in the epic battle scenes or storylines. Just keep it simple and keep it about him dealing with mortality, and he deals with mortality through his own standalone films. But this one, let's just hyper focus on that. Let's hyper focus on how everyone has just fallen around him and how he deals with that in life. And while that's happened, let's bring in his daughter, let's bring in a girl who becomes, or he finds out is his daughter.
Well,
and
daughter quotations.
Yeah, and how he feels about that. And I feel like in this story, watching it again, I watched it again last night, they really do bring on, the story kicks in fast.
Oh, yeah.
Like within the first couple scenes, we're introduced to the main antagonist. But even with that, they're still hyper focusing on dealing with life and mental illness in a major fucking way, and how you deal with that. And how someone deals with that.
Yeah.
That's my breakdown. That is longer than 30 seconds.
It's significantly longer than 30 seconds,
Yeah.
but it does a good job kind of clearing everything up. The first thing I actually want to start with this thing is a fan theory, which I don't usually do, but I think it's really interesting, and that's kind of why I want to start with it. Have you guys heard the theory that this movie takes place outside of the X-Men world?
I guess.
In what way?
So
In what way?
they make the moment at the comment at the one point when he's looking at the comic book saying a couple of things happened and then they made a ton of shit up.
Yeah,
So the
yeah.
fan theory is that the movies that we have seen in the X-Men universe are all that shit that was made up about the real dramatic stuff that happened to Logan.
Which
I really-
I love. I love
I
that.
That's
love,
not
like-
a bad idea. So basically, you're
Yeah.
saying that everything that we've seen.
Are movies about things that actually happened.
That could have
Yeah,
theoretically
so-
taken place in this universe.
Yeah.
It would make sense that, in the real world, when they're trying to not be so obvious that they're mutants, that it wouldn't be as obvious as those movies have been.
Yeah.
Well, there's 3 moments. One's a deleted scene, but there are 3 moments in the movie where they refer back to the past stuff. And one is there's a moment where they talk about the Statue of Liberty,
Yep.
and then there's a moment where he talks about what's his fucking Brian Cox's name? What's that guy's name?
Oh, Stryker.
Yeah, Stryker. Where he mentions, did I kill him? Like, he's really confused, which I love that.
Yeah.
Because he's like, wait a minute, none of us know. I mean, did that still happen? Who knows?
Yeah.
But then in the
Oh, he
deleted
didn't.
scene,
Yeah, you're right. Because
Yeah.
in Days of Future Past, with all that, he actually didn't kill him in the way that we saw him.
yeah, we
die.
don't know, but he still has the adamantium. So
Right. No. Well, that.
That
Yeah.
happens afterwards.
yeah, but like
That may happen
Stryker's the
from
one
Jason.
who put it in him, but Stryker's
wait.
not the one who pulled him out of the water at the end of that movie. So it's very anyway.
It's a twisty timing.
But I love
Yeah.
that he
Wibbly
wasn't,
wobbly.
I just love that he wasn't sure. Like,
Yeah.
but there's a deleted scene which I'm so glad they pulled where Xavier is talking about Jean Grey, and then he says, and he killed her.
No. Wait, I think. Sorry, I remember that being in the movie. I haven't watched the deleted
No,
scenes
it's a
yet.
deleted.
It's
oh.
definitely not in the movie.
No,
yeah,
it's not.
I was watching deleted scenes last
I
night
haven't
or 2 days
seen
ago.
that.
Yeah. He
And
says
who? Did, like, Jackman or someone
yeah,
else
he's
kill
pointing
her?
it. He's pointing at Wolverine and
'Cause he
saying
did
he
kill
killed
her.
her. He did kill her in Last Stand, which I thought was
Erased.
kind of wiped away.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm so glad they deleted it because I feel like that put too definitive
yeah.
a point.
The thing is,
Yeah.
the Phoenix Saga can still happen.
It is
It
gonna
just
happen.
won't
It's
be
happening.
as
It's
Yeah.
happening.
yeah. But the thing in what they're talking about,
The
he can
movie's
still
so
kill her. It just won't be as terribly done
Yeah,
as it
yeah.
was in that
Yeah.
film.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And I like the whole the fan theory because that means that Brett Ratner just then that actually happened, but that
They
doesn't mean that those
legit
events happen in that
deleted
shitty
everything.
way.
But wait. Very important. Does this mean that Kelsey Grammer is not Beast? Because
No,
that
he's
has to
still
happen.
Beast.
No,
He's
he's
still
still,
Beast.
yeah, because
Good.
in the
Beast
end
played
of
by
Days of
himself.
Future Past,
Yeah, it's.
Bring back some fat chicks.
I was explaining this to somebody last night about the timelines and how everything sort of works, and we're going a little off topic, but I was so excited about the storyline behind Days of Future Past because it basically, regardless of what you think, it negates 1, 2, and 3, which is.
Well, it doesn't negate 1, 2 as much,
Yeah,
but it
it
definitely
does because it
negates
technically.
3.
Well, no, because when he comes back to life, he's a teacher at the school. So
Yeah,
it
but
take
he's
place.
a teacher at the school.
But 1 might have happened.
One still would have
It
happened.
may, but
Or like this movie explains, it probably happened in a way, but not the way
Right.
you
Yeah.
know it.
Right,
Not the
right,
way.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because-
that's all fine.
Because what I love about that is it makes the comic books are obviously a parallel for the movies we've seen. So we
Yeah.
are paralleled with Laura and the kids in that moment,
Yeah.
whereas the Wolverine we know is the Wolverine we've seen, and this is not that guy.
It's
and
a-
the whole
it's-
movie
it's
is
a good
about
fan
him
theory.
becoming that guy again.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean,
I
especially-
really enjoy that the whole line about toads probably didn't happen then.
Oh, that's so. Thank God Joss Whedon didn't have to write that one fucking line, and everything's okay.
I want to try to bring it back to Logan a little bit with
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
though.
please.
Why?
Brian had been complaining to me about the use of the F word before I
Oh.
rewatched Logan. And
In general?
yes.
I just fucking
Wait.
hate the word fuck.
No,
Do you?
but la la la. And then on my second rewatch, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Especially with Xavier,
It
because
doesn't fit his character.
The very beginning of Xavier, they have him saying "fuck" like 10 times,
Mm-hmm.
only in that one scene, and then he doesn't the rest of the movie.
He does. The only time he says it that I buy it is when he's pissed off at Logan about them not taking it easy on the road.
The
Where he's
opening
like,
line.
No. The end, like the right around where the time that he dies,
Mm-hmm.
where he's like, "We need to take a break. She's 11. I'm fucking 90."
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was the only time it actually felt like the professor to me. Every other time it just felt like James Mangold got a chance to say
Like they
fuck,
did
and
it
he went,
because
"Let's
they
just
could."
go for broke."
We got
Yeah.
an R rating.
There's,
Yeah.
there's a lot of fucks at the very beginning
Yeah.
of this movie from both Wolverine and the professor, and then it just kind of peters out. Maybe it's because they're around more kids at the
While
end. I
I
don't know.
while I
That
agree
makes
with
sense.
well,
he does,
yeah,
he does comment
say
on the language
with the girl.
Yeah.
But what I will say is that from the beginning, you're sitting there. Logan's first line is "fuck," and I really love that.
No, I'm fine with that line.
And then Patrick Stewart's one of his first lines after talking about the chalupa is "fuck off, Logan." And while it's them going like, "Let's just do it," I really liked it.
See, I don't. See, the
I'm
thing
okay
was, like,
with a couple of them, but when it's
Right,
like, when
I get
it's
what you- yeah.
continuous, I'm like, all right, I get it. We're rated R. We don't have to later on South Park style.
yeah, like
I
that was
get
the
it.
thing. It's
I
like
get- yeah.
Logan swearing up a storm, especially this late in his life, and this just tired of everything. I buy it. Like it doesn't. He could have said fuck every other word.
I mean,
It
at this
wouldn't have
point,
questioned
he's
it.
what, 150?
if not older,
More than
170?
57,
more
I
than.
think.
He fought in the Civil War.
Yeah, the Civil War happened in like
60s.
60s.
and this is what 2027,
29.
2029. Yeah, so yeah, he's old.
Yeah.
So yeah, him swearing never really bothered me. It was really just more the Xavier because it didn't fit the character.
It's
It
weird.
fit the R rating, but it
I
just.
did not even notice any of this. It's probably because I use the word fuck every 3
Me
seconds.
Well, so do
in
I.
my
The
daily
opening of the
life, so
podcast
I
is
don't
fuck
know.
yes, but it's like
I think I agree with you. I'm going to go halfway
Okay.
with both of you. Because I think you're right that he doesn't use it. Xavier doesn't use it enough throughout, but
That's not my complaint.
Oh, well.
It's more so just.
no, I mean,
And
the
my complaint is
consistency,
that him
rather.
using it so much at the beginning is just so people going, look, it's rated
Yeah,
R.
yeah,
Yeah.
no. But at
But you
the
kind
same
of established
time,
during that first fight scene when he's cutting dudes' arms off.
Yeah.
yeah, like, and that's like going back to that fan theory. That's what like I like that even more because that makes me feel more like the PG-13 movies we've seen so far.
We're PG.
Were PG-13
Yeah, yeah.
movies, and this one's
like
more
that.
realistic. Like, oh, this is what happens with a dude for claw hands
When you fight him.
would fight somebody.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's your R rating right there.
You
I
don't-
don't need Xavier cursing up a story. And just
No.
we've seen him from childhood to now. It doesn't feel like that
Supposed to be
guy.
being a very eloquent man.
Yeah.
I do like how
Dementia
how-
does.
That's true.
I-
I,
I like-
understand.
Yeah.
Speaking
Oh,
from
well, that's
personal.
Yeah.
a personal experience for
Yeah,
me. I
yeah.
know dementia,
Yeah.
but my grandma got more racist and weird. She didn't say fuck all the time.
But
It
we don't
could,
need to
yeah.
go into it.
Elvis is trying really hard to say something.
But yeah, I
Elvis
think
is failing.
what I was saying is I'm saving all my energy for the next one. But yeah, what you were saying, that first fuck off Logan, I think does work, and I think it's because it's like if this doesn't feel like Professor Xavier, and he is changing, and he's going through some mental illness, and
Yeah.
that's affecting how much he has changed. And I've seen people too, where
Yeah.
when they get old and it's shocking how the personality can change, and I
Yeah.
think
No,
that really works.
It is. I
but-
love the moment when Logan goes, "Oh, you know who I am now," and he's like, "I always know who you are, or I always
Yeah.
know who the
Yeah.
fuck you are. I just don't always recognize you."
Yeah.
That is dementia right
Totally,
there.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, there's moments of just complete greatness, and, like, my qualms with the use of swearing is really just kind of like window dressing. Like, whatever. I mean, it bugs me a little bit, but it doesn't take away from the movie.
It's far from the worst part of the movie.
Yeah.
No,
it
it's
is
a
a
complaint.
minor thing.
So
So what would you say the worst thing in the movie?
I think
yeah.
the worst part of the movie is, I think, one of the funniest parts of the movie, actually, in that this nurse really knows iMovie very well.
Oh, yeah.
And we're
Shit.
watching
Yup.
the phone and the
Yup.
full
She's good at
cut
editing.
documentary.
No. iMovie 2029 is a great app.
Also, like, where there's a scene where she's right up on a doctor and a nurse talking. I'm like, what is she just standing there
How do you
holding
not
a
know?
phone up?
Yeah. How do you not have one throwaway, like, what are you doing? Like, just like a smash cut away.
I think they just tried to be like, okay, we gotta fucking do this.
We
And
gotta-
it's gonna suck. So let's not draw any more attention to it
Yeah.
than we need to.
Here's what in the second viewing that I watched this, I realized, holy hell, she edited this all in that motel, because the final shot is her talking like she's your daughter in the motel. So I'm like, either she had it ready to go, or she did it all in that motel in that evening after she saw him, and it's like, okay, we're gonna need to explain this to him. If I
Nurses
ever
get
can.
hobbies too, man.
I mean,
No, I know, but it
editing
was-
in
but it was.
2029 might just be a bunch of like
That's
finger
a good
swishes,
point.
like
I-
not very many steps.
You know, and that's something else I thought was a really interesting choice about this movie, that it's 2029, but they made zero attempt to make it look like the future, which I
Well,
think
I
there's
love
definitely
that.
stuff.
It's not that
Yeah.
far in the
I
future.
love
Yeah.
There's the
Yeah.
self-driving trucks.
That's only
Yeah.
12 years
but, like,
away.
but it felt like now. It felt completely
Which
like
is
now.
It
great.
feels like
Yeah, which I
it
liked.
honestly,
I liked very much.
It feels like the 2029 we're going to get to.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
not going to get
Worse?
hover cars.
yeah,
yeah.
shit's gonna get worse, and
But there's gonna be,
people
like,
are gonna lose jobs. There's no
electronic
self-driving trucks.
billboard.
That would be an interesting academic study where you sort of look at all the movies that say they're in the future,
Yeah.
and see the decline in futuristic objects
Yeah.
in the movies as
Oh,
we get.
you don't know how to
throughout
use the
years.
shells?
But I really,
We never even got to see the shells.
We need a sequel so we can find out.
I really like the depiction of the future in this movie. I
Yeah.
think they did a great job
Yeah.
with it. Like, there was when we get to quotes, my quote is specifically about the world building of the future.
I know
Like,
what it is. It's
yeah,
such a good line.
and they do such like little things where it's not just like you look like Blade Runner or something like that, where it's like, look at this future landscape, which is great and it works for that movie. But this isn't that movie, so it just feels way more organic and real. And it does a good job of, I mean, who knows what the world will look like in 2029? But if this movie's still watched in 2029, it won't be as like, can you believe how far off they were?
I mean, just think about it like today. Okay, so today's 2017. So 12 years ago, that would have been, I can do math.
Can you though?
2005.
Carry the one.
How, other than cell phones and televisions, how much has things really changed since
I mean, yeah.
2005?
Yeah, it's
That's a good point.
You
cell
can wa-
phones,
you can watch a
televisions, fashion,
2005 movie, and it
drones.
looks still
drones.
pretty modern.
Yeah.
Except for the
I mean,
flip phones.
drones were still already a thing. The government had them. We didn't. They just became available to the public.
Yeah, now we have one in our living room that I'm really happy about.
Sure you are.
You got one?
I do not trust them.
That's a whole thing.
That's a whole thing.
I'm sure that
I
was
was
a
not
fun
supposed to have
conversation.
one, but now I have one.
I will describe that not on the podcast.
Anytime I see a drone flying over my head, I give it the finger. I don't like, get out of my face.
Now I just want to fly my drone around Emily's head constantly.
I will shoot it.
Ask
I
him
mean,
a
that
really
wouldn't be the end
annoying
of the
question,
world.
like, did he sign the papers yet?
Another thing about the art design,
Yes,
looking
yes,
into the
Logan.
future,
That would be so annoying.
that I really like is just like the billboards, the advertisements. They're all digital. They have
Yeah.
this like ubiquitous brand called Hypno, which I think is. They mention is that the brand of like soda that the corn syrup is
Yes.
made
Yeah.
from? Yeah.
Yes.
I love that.
See,
and how it's like everywhere.
That was my only thing that I wish they didn't bury so much in the movie. Like, they do a really good job of saying there are no more mutants, essentially. And I feel
It's
like
just suppressed.
it
they-
is, but like I feel like they really wanted to have that plot point in there, but they don't do a good job like really showcasing it. Like, it's really one of the things where like they don't need to because it's not that story, but at the same time it just kind of felt like they really just kind of lightly allude to the fact that Charles killed all the X-Men.
Which I love.
I really like that, but I
It's
just
weird that you love, like, that's so upsetting,
It's
but
so
it is
tragic,
really
intensely
like,
tragic.
It's great. That,
yeah, and it's one of those like, and that is like Logan's like burden that he has to carry for
Yeah.
Charles. And I love that's all great character development, but I feel like they just do it so light that it almost undercuts it. Like if you went to the bathroom at the wrong second, you missed the entire thing.
Yes.
I don't think you need it though.
See,
Because I think you can
No,
come
but-
into this movie without seeing any X-Men. You will not get the same experience, obviously. But I think the story works.
I think they do
Yeah.
a great job in creating a world where we can see. I think that you can probably kick out about 3 other. I'm not saying they should do this. You can kick out probably 3 more films in this world and have it nothing to do with Xavier or Logan. And
well, obviously.
well, no, my point is that they created a world within this movie, this particular film about mutant suppression, the story of the destruction of Xavier's mansion, I think that while Brian, you may say that it undercuts it, I think because they sort of subtly go on it and they don't dig into it, it actually makes it a little bit more interesting. Like, oh, there's more mystery clutter. In the same idea that like. It's a bad example, but like Westworld in the sense where they make a world and you want to go into the corners and crevices of this world, even though they're not letting you at this moment.
I love when a movie lets me put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
And I like that.
So-
that this does, I think, the best job out of any of the. I know that's not an X-Men movie, but really the best job of any of the X-Men movies or anything pertaining to mutants of showing and not telling, of just like giving you a little bit and letting you get that leap on
They
your own.
did with the X-Men.
Yeah.
The corn syrup thing is my gripe because I could have done without the whole them walking through the field having exposition about corn syrup.
See, that felt like a focus group thing to me.
I did not like that
felt
at
like
all.
because I was already kind of guessing that it would have been bred out. Like
Yeah.
that was kind of.
I mean, they have it in the
Oh, I
line
Yeah.
with the evil scientist later. He's just like, I'm the one
That's-
that
oh,
did this. I
that's what I
got
meant
it
by
into your
focus group.
drinks. I got it
Yeah.
into the corn syrup. That was a great moment. The stuff we got beforehand with the farmer family and when they're walking out to fix the pipes and then while they're walking through the corn, he's like,
a little weird.
yeah, this corn's all for corn syrup, which you're all drinking and stuff now. Yeah, a little exposition-y.
I felt the exact opposite. I didn't need the bad guy monologuing because I see that in every fucking movie. I am the creator of your destruction. I don't give a shit. I know you're the bad guy because you're the bad guy.
And you have an accent.
Yeah. You're
we didn't
Dr.
need-
Bad Guy. I
They should
get
have
it.
chosen one because we didn't need both.
I think I would. I think I like the corn syrup, the scene more too.
Yeah.
Because honestly, and maybe I was just the dumb person not paying attention. I don't think I got that really until the second viewing. That's what they were referring to.
See, I was guessing because I was trying to figure out why there are no more mutants, and they talk about how there's corn syrup in everything
But
now.
you would
and
have,
I'm
had,
like,
you would have had
okay.
to make the
But it's-
connection though, and I get why the doctor said it later on because they don't need. It's not being spoon fed per se. Well, yeah, it is, but
literally.
but like the corn syrup, you could have alluded that, and it could have been another fan theory if they didn't put in that second thing.
Yeah.
and I think I like the fact that they sort of closed the door on what happened because there are certain aspects. This sort of negates exactly what I just said 2 seconds ago, but it does close the door on certain areas that we would be questioning nonstop.
I guess that makes
I really
sense, yeah.
enjoyed the line from the evil guy going, and then mutants went the way of polio. I thought that was a great
yeah, it was-
line.
That's not a bad line.
Yeah, it's not a bad line, but I still.
That's all I needed. That was all the explanation I needed was I got it in your drinks and you went the way of polio.
That also does a lot toward his motivation. The fact that he compares mutants to polio is
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
telling of why
thinks
he
it's a
hates them
disease.
so much.
Yeah.
I do like how the villains are like. I think they're still pretty thin, just bad evil corporation guys. But I do like how he's like, do something for the good guys one last time when he's talking to Caliban.
Yeah.
because they still kind of see this as a problem.
There are 2 things
Yeah.
I find funny. There's about that, and there's one other thing that we haven't brought up that I do want to talk about really quick. But it is sort of funny that if they just killed off the Stryker family, none of this would have been happening. Like, he was a former Strike. He was a descendant on one of the Strikers.
So
Which
he's
is sort of funny because they don't change the villain. It's the same family line. It's not.
If
like,
anything,
But
that's
no one
maybe
went
the
out and
thing I
killed all of
don't
Hitler's
like.
kids.
No, I know.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was sort of funny. It was like, oh hey, another Stryker.
I thought Hitler's descendants agreed to not procreate.
I recently read about that. His great grandniece, her and her brother agreed to become sterilized because they didn't want to continue the life line.
Okay.
All right.
And actually, she's still alive.
Oh,
She's like super old, but she's still
how
alive.
fun.
To change the subject just slightly.
Why?
The other thing I
right
found
on,
really
Logan.
funny, and this is just the style. This is the costuming. I just thought it was a funny idea that guys, when their bachelor parties, wear suits like they're from the 70s. Like the pastel. Did you guys? When
Yeah,
they were
no,
the
yeah.
pastel blue and pink.
USA,
Yeah.
The blue,
USA.
and, the blue and pink pastel colors of their suits. I was just sort of like, all right.
That never
guess-
stops being funny.
And it was an interesting choice.
What do we think of Laura?
She's
Oh
wonderful.
my god, I love
This
her.
was her debut, right?
Yes.
She
Absolutely
has
wonderful.
better stink face than Grumpy Cat. Like, just that. I still love it. I almost just want a poster of her sitting and eating her Wheaties and giving that side stare, just holding her spoon, going, "I'm gonna kill all of you. I'm just waiting." Like, I love that sequence so much. It's such a beautiful frame. It's such like This girl's a great actress. I hope
Yeah.
she can stay that way into adulthood, because we don't always get that. And casting for her, she even kind of looks like Logan if she was a mixed race. But like, it totally worked. I adored her. I don't know how you guys.
On the Blu-ray they have her screen test with like her audition with Hugh Jackman in there, and she is killing it.
Yeah.
Like, she's angry, she's throwing shit at him. Like, I can see no difference between that and her eventual performance. She's
could
like,
definitely
this
see-
face
yeah.
is so, and I'm like,
Like,
how did they get
Are
the
we
kid
sure
that
they're not
age?
or related in real
Yeah,
life?
and she's I looked her up. She's mixed. She's Spanish and British.
Okay.
So I think she's of Spanish descent, but she lives in England, or she's like one of her parents is British.
Does she have a British accent?
It's a weird hybrid accent. It sounds a little bit Spanish, a little bit British. Like she's a true blend.
Huh.
A true blend.
Yeah, no, she's absolutely terrific.
Yeah.
I never want to meet her in an alley.
No.
I'd be
No,
like,
it's
I
the
adored you,
scariest thing in
Logan.
the
I'm gonna run
movie.
away now.
And they're saying like she was like all in on any of the stunts that they would allow her to do. She was just like totally into it. She
Yeah.
was like they said she had like the best attitude on set. Of course, this is her first movie, so she's not jaded yet.
Right.
But yeah, like she was just
for
so
her
excited.
first movie, being able to control the screen like that,
Yeah.
there was no question in her ability to stand with Hugh Jackman as an equal.
Yeah. The only other person I know who read for the role was the girl from Stranger Things, Millie
Oh,
Bobby
that could have
Brown.
been interesting.
It would have been interesting, but I'm glad they went the way
Yeah,
they did. Like
yeah.
this girl was. It's one of those like rare occasions of just unbelievably perfect for the role.
I like casting unknowns. I really
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that. Like, even when it came now, you guys may disagree with me, but I didn't know actors as much as I know now because I was younger. But for the original X-Men movie, I was not familiar with Halle Berry. I was not familiar with Hugh Jackman as much.
I think I knew. I mean, I knew Patrick
I
Stewart,
knew
obviously.
Holly
Everyone
Berry,
knew
I knew
Patrick-
Patrick Stewart,
But
and that was
but
might
Anna
have been it.
Paquin,
Ian McKellen,
I
but
really
yeah, the rest of I knew Anna Paquin because she did that movie with the ducks.
right. But point is,
Piano.
Oh yeah, Fly Away Home.
Yeah, there it is.
Think of her as more
Really
the
not
girl
the
from
piano? Yeah.
But
He's
my-
never
Yeah, I was
seen
a young
piano.
boy.
my point
I
is
skipped the
that
piano. I watched the
Okay,
duck
that's-
movie.
We
Okay,
have
that makes
piano.
sense.
We
I
can
guess-
watch it. It's a great
It's
depressing
really
movie.
great.
Some
My-
other time.
My point is the fact that by casting unknowns, you literally have a blank image of who this person is.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, there are the big celebrities like Chris Pine or Chris Pratt and
Well, they're
and
both.
others.
I know,
Yeah, I know.
That's a
But-
huge distinction.
Jason, I'm totally on your side because
Yeah.
I feel the same way about Star Wars.
Yeah.
Pretty much everyone except for Han Solo was an unknown in Star Wars.
You mean
Well,
Force
even-
Awakens?
No.
Or the original?
Star Wars.
The
Well,
original-
even
Alec
Force
Guinness.
They,
Awakens.
tried,
I
they,
mean,
they
But
tried
even-
to keep
Daisy
that up
Ridley
with
was.
the
Even
original.
Harrison Ford, though, what I do love is when Harrison Ford was getting ready for the film and before it came out, I have a friend who met him and signing autographs before the movie came out, and he basically said, if this movie doesn't work out, I'm going to go back to being a carpenter.
The
Like,
only
it's that-
unknown in Force Awakens for me was Rey. I knew all the other
And
actors.
John Boyega was in Attack the Block, and we have seen him in others,
Yeah,
but
but
this
I
was
don't-
like a...
that
But he
wasn't
wasn't like a household
Yeah.
name.
No, he
Yeah.
wasn't. But
Not
for,
until The Circle
for me,
came out.
specifically,
Yeah, for you specifically.
only Rey was an unknown.
Right.
But no, and I think that's why this was such a good choice. Because I mean, Millie Bobby Brown isn't like a household name, but Stranger Things was huge, and this would have been made right around the same time. So
Yeah.
she
It
still would
would
have
have
been an
been double.
unknown.
They would have advertised her being.
She's
it.
Yeah,
also
yeah.
clearly a straight up white girl, and I like that we had
Yeah.
some ethnic diversity.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. And she was perfect for this role. And like, I think like the physicality of her. I mean, I know she didn't do all the stunts, but she did do a lot of them. Like everything about it. Like I love the way they implemented like the feet claws and all that.
Oh
like
my
Yeah.
I love how that was about like her gender too.
Yeah, that was-
Yeah, I was thinking about that last night though, and is it though? Because
They need to
adamantium was put in.
Yeah, they don't just
No, but-
create it.
It
Like
would've
it
been a
doesn't
bone
mold
claw, though.
itself.
bone claws.
It wasn't.
Oh,
the-
yeah.
Yeah,
It does need to be
but-
bone.
You have to
Sorry,
remember
I
they
forgot.
totally went bone claws in this universe.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
if
yeah.
Wolverine had the male like the hand
Days
bone
of
claws.
Future Past.
right.
Yeah.
bust them
You're
out,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so excited when that came out of her shoe because I was just like, they did it.
I
Yeah.
always think about that when I see him with those bone claws. I'm like, that seems like they would break so easily as soon as you like. It's a good
Yeah.
thing he has the adamantium
Exactly.
because
Yeah.
honestly, the second you stab somebody and you kind of
I mean,
slightly, I mean, like
in the-
how easy it is to break your finger. Imagine
It grows
breaking like
back.
a little.
So in the classic film X-Men's Origins Wolverine, they do break a couple times.
Yeah. But yeah, I
Everyone's
guess
seen
you're
that
right. They
classic
grow
film.
back.
You're
so.
talking him breaking his.
His bone
Bone
claws.
claws.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of which, okay, here's my only like thing I cannot get out of my head, and I'm trying to like just it's a movie, but I can't. It's like she is very young, and they've already put adamantium all over
Yeah,
her bones.
that means-
she's gonna get older. What? Like she's not done
Oh,
growing.
I didn't even
What?
think about
That's
that.
like every time I see her adamantium
Maybe
claws
it
come out, that's
stunts
like
her
all I
growth.
can think.
Maybe it
Oh.
stunts her growth then. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe she'll just stay that size forever.
Oh, I didn't.
I
think
hope.
about that at all.
Because she has that in the comics too right away.
Yeah. In the comics she
But
just
I
grows because comics they just go because of fuck it.
She's
Yeah.
13.
That's
She's
how I feel
13
about
in the
Doctor Who.
comics when they
Actually,
find
Yeah.
her. I don't remember.
the writers just say fuck it at a certain point.
Oh,
Try
yeah.
to think of
I
continuity.
tried
I mean,
to
that is
shut it off,
X-Men
but I
over
can't.
and
Like
over.
once I started
Yeah.
thinking about it, I couldn't.
Oh, that
stop.
just sounds awful.
I mean, they won't go this way, but it could be like if they make that a problem for her,
Yeah.
and like if they did continue this story, then
Yeah.
that would be awesome. It's like, yeah,
Can you
she's
imagine the
fucked.
growing
And she also
pains?
knows that at some point later in her life she will die of adamantium poisoning.
Yeah.
Which is that's something to look forward
She's
to.
got
So-
100 years.
So can I talk about one thing I didn't like?
Absolutely.
That
That's-
all of you disagreed with. Oh, I
I
brought it
love
up
disagreeing
very.
with you.
I brought it up very lightly at the beginning because I know you guys are going to want to get into it.
Oh right, yes.
So I am not a writer. I don't know how you could fix this scene, and it doesn't necessarily need to be fixed, as you all told me. And I'm prefacing. I'm prefacing because I thought the way Patrick Stewart died, his monologue is great. Everything about it is great. I just felt like he sees Logan for the last time as he's dying in the back of the truck. Fine, but that first stab is from the clone thing, and there's something just unsatisfying to me that while he's saying that monologue, no one hears him, and no one hears that final monologue, and there's something like unsatisfying to me that mental thought process was not passed on.
That's what makes
That's
it
the
tragic.
point.
Yeah,
That's
that's
no,
the
I know.
tragedy of the
I know, I
scene.
know.
I was gonna say like
You
I
know
was
what?
so ready to get on your side for this, and then it's like no wait, I actually kind of like.
You
that.
know what they could have done? They could have had to be like disintegrated in a room.
Yeah,
I hate that. Oh.
yeah, no.
But no,
But that's the tragedy of it,
I
though,
get
because
it.
he's
I
saying
just-
this monologue. He's coming to this realization. He feels bad that he killed all of his students,
Yeah.
and then at
Completely
the very
understand.
last second, he sees the face of one of his students
I
who
think-
kills him.
Effectively his
Ooh,
son.
When you put it that way.
yeah, no.
It's layers of tragedy.
Y'all are right. I agree, but
We
I
did
think
it.
I think sort of there. You know what it is? Maybe as a fan, not looking at the storyline, but having a better send off than that. And obviously, I'm thinking. I know.
This movie's not about grandiose
I
send-offs.
know.
Although
Just let
this
me
is the-
finish.
I would argue this is the perfect send off for both of these characters. You couldn't do better.
I don't. There is. Yeah. It's.
So everyone,
It
just so
didn't
you
do it
know,
for me.
Brian's hands are clasped together, and he just did a quick look back and forth between Jason.
was
and Elvis.
adorable.
I'm enjoying the hell out of
But
this.
the thing is, and it goes in line with this. With my other point is the fact that and answer just very quickly because I have a point right after. Did any of you cry?
No.
Yes.
You did.
But I have the same connection that you. Well, maybe it's different. But my grandma suffered from dementia.
Right.
I watched my grandmother die. I
Right.
was in the room when she died. It is so in this film. I was so attached to his experience that it's gonna make me tear up a little bit right now. It's just they captured dementia so well and how
Really
it
well.
destroys a
Really
person.
well.
And and then how it destroys people around them, like how Hugh Jackman was dealing with it. I identified with him so well because of it, of like how you just want to fight it but deal with it. You have to accept it, but you don't, and you're like they're going to die, but you're trying to hold them together as long as you can. this movie captured that in a way that I haven't seen, because every other type of movie that's been tried to deal with dementia tried to make it funny at some point, so to make it easier
and this one does
for the
not
audience.
do that.
No, it doesn't.
Even
it
with like the
doesn't.
chalupa scene in the beginning, that's still just that
It's
never played
it's
up for
really
laughs.
hard.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say was
Oh, you know what? Here, I'm
I
gonna
cried too, but I cry at the drop of a hat. So
What made me tear up was not him dying. It was when Logan came in, saw what happened, and went, "It wasn't me.
Yeah.
It wasn't me.
God.
It wasn't me."
Yeah.
I mean, the
That's what made
entire-
me tear up.
That
So-
whole sequence with him bringing him down into the truck, saying it wasn't me, and then after he buries him and he can't handle it because he's the only father figure that Hugh Jackman's ever actually had.
Yeah.
the thing is that when I watched it the first time and I'm saying this just
Logan,
because
not Hugh Jackman, by the way.
it gave me. I was
Poor
sitting
Hugh
with.
Jackman. You never had a dad.
I was sitting with a couple other critics, and we were all sort of talking about it. And I said, like, it felt like it was 2 steps away from making me start crying. Like, it didn't hit me emotionally, and I felt like if they held a certain shot, if they did something, like just did something additional or pulled onto
Here's
it,
the thing that I think that
I would have broken down. I would have I was like seconds away from like, oh my god.
That's,
let me-
that's
never had
good.
here, but
They
let
were getting you
absolutely,
there, so
absolutely.
they didn't take
But
you to the crescendo.
Here, let me
Right.
see if this is closer to what is a sticking point for you, because this is kind of what bothers me. The only reason why the death of Xavier bothers me in this movie is not because of any of the plot points with Xavier. I think all that works. I think it's the fact that they use the death of Xavier to introduce the antagonist of the film.
There it is.
the actual
you know,
villain.
The
Yeah.
minute
Yeah.
you put those two together,
Okay.
that's why.
I could see that.
That's
as
why.
an
Yeah.
argument.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for that, because he is one of the greatest characters in comic book history,
absolutely
and
right.
and if they didn't have to use his death to introduce somebody else, I think it'd been perfect.
Thinking
It's
on
just
that
like being
now,
a woman, though, because female characters are often murdered just to motivate our main character to do something really cool.
And black characters.
And black characters.
I'm not saying it's a good thing.
But thinking on your point,
Yeah.
on Brian, your point, I actually that may be what I was trying to portray in throwing you off.
I understand that, but I still get the satisfaction of the tragedy of him.
Oh, totally.
seeing
Yeah,
everything.
that's why if he's saying it's 2 steps away, I think it's 1 step away. I think it's just almost there. And if it wasn't for that one extra thing,
If we had
it's
gotten
near
his
perfection.
introduction beforehand,
Yeah,
At the same
they
time,
But I don't
mentioned
think
him.
you could have had the
Yeah.
introduction beforehand. That's
Exactly.
The only
They
moment the
alluded
movie
to
That's
it.
the
They
thing. You would have had to
showed body
redo it.
parts.
we
Yeah.
wouldn't have been, but then we wouldn't have been surprised by that moment. And
Exactly,
we would
So
have seen
it's-
it
you would have
coming.
gotten that tragedy that he feels in his last
Yeah,
moments.
and that's I think I'd rather have this than that. Like I'd rather have this thing
Yeah.
that's just a hair short of perfect
Yeah.
than something
like
completely fucked.
imagine like, oh well, Caliban, you're not helping. Let's pan over, and it's like, is that Wolverine again?
Yeah.
and then when he was giving his speech, we all would have known he wasn't talking to
Exactly.
Wolverine.
Yeah.
You know
which,
what?
which was you can suspect because they never show his face, and I remember watching it the first time like something's
Yeah, as soon as he said
Yeah.
something like this was the most perfect night, I'm like, oh, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
You're gonna die right now. God damn it, no, you're gonna die.
Watching it with Mari last night, she was like, "Oh, don't go to that family's house.
I know.
Don't go to that
That's
family's
so
house.
frustrating.
You know what you're gonna do to them."
And that was
it's
like
not going to end well.
that was like
so good though.
and
Yeah.
watching Wolverine be like, "This is a bad idea," and Xavier was like, "No, we should do it." And it's like, "No, Wolverine's right. You get the fuck
Yeah.
guys, no." And so this is like, and that's the worst tragedy. Is like he knew this would happen, and he's just like,
But
"I told us to leave."
It gave us the cutesy moments of Hugh Jackman actually having to be a dad, though. Because
I like that, and
before that, he was just the guy bringing her places, but he had
Yeah.
to be a dad during that dinner sequence.
I love the dinner sequence.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it was
it's
good.
so
Oh, yeah.
good. It's so well written. I love everything. Like I could drop out of school and like the throwaway line of like, "Be careful, he used to run a school."
yeah.
Like I love all of that. Like it was just such a great like. As somebody who's loved these movies since they first started coming out, it's such a great like cap on all of it. Like
It's a
even
great
after it's all
levity
done and
moment.
gone, like you still have this moment.
And I do want to be completely clear. I really no. I want to be.
Yeah.
In the comments I've just said, I actually really enjoyed this movie. If there was something that you asked me to nitpick,
Yeah.
those are my things.
Well, yeah,
That's
it's like
the
for my
thing.
nitpick,
Jason,
I
do you
don't
have
like
any idea how many times I have to explain to people I do enjoy Force Awakens? I just have a lot of problems with it.
I had the same thing even when I helped you out with Civil War. It's like I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I
Yeah,
just have problems
yeah.
with it.
We just don't like
Yeah.
it when people say that it's the greatest thing ever because it's not.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah. Can't
Only one thing can be the greatest thing
Oh,
ever.
Star
you
And
Wars.
it's
guys-
Terminator 2
You
Judgment
guys,
Day.
I'm sorry for the sidebar, but we're already there. I was on set the other day and someone saw my The Force is With Me tattoo, and this dude was like, "Oh, cool, Star Wars. It's a Star Wars tattoo." And I was like, "Well, technically it's a Rogue One tattoo."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, don't say that. That movie was terrible." And I was like, first of all, why are you going to say that to someone who got a line tattooed on her fucking arm?
Well, you should have just said, "Well, you're not worth talking to now."
Yeah, that's kind of what I did.
Oh, then this is over. Bye.
Oh, the podcast is done. All right.
Yeah. All right. Is there anything else that we haven't touched on? I know there's so much to talk in this movie, but we've already been talking for a while. What have we not hit that you
There
guys
was
want to
one
hit?
really quick
Yeah.
thing. Mari sort of saw it, and Mari's my girlfriend. She watched it with me last night again, and she saw it for the first time last night. She caught it. I did in the first viewing. Nothing happens. Nothing comes of it. But is there a moment when the iPod or the iPhone or whatever is shared by the son in the farmhouse? And what's her name again?
Okay,
Laura.
why does he have an iPod?
Yeah, it
He's
wasn't
into
an iPod.
retro
It was,
tech.
It,
That's
was an
not
iPhone.
that
It was an
far-fetched.
iPhone because we were looking at it later and it was an iPhone.
What child gives another child their phone willingly?
Right. We were talking about that, but also
He's a nice kid.
she is very young. Got it. She's very young. He is adolescent. I was thinking that there was going to be some kind of, and there wasn't because it would have been weird, but there was some kind of, I guess, introduction to her understanding boys.
She was raised with boys.
She was
Yeah,
raised with
that-
boys, but it was just a weird staring moment, staring
I
at
mean,
him.
she's a young girl. She could go, "That's a hot guy," and that's not that
Yeah.
weird.
No, without a
Honestly,
doubt.
I think it
It
was,
was
more
just a very
so she
interesting-
never really listened to music.
Yeah, I
that's
think
what I
that-
wanted
yeah.
to hear
Or
your
it's another
thoughts.
person
That's why I'm
who
bringing it up.
who's divorced from all of this horribleness. He's like,
She's
oh, that's
learning
another
stuff.
kid.
Oh, this is what a happy person looks
Yeah.
like that.
Well,
That
he's
alone
not going to
is-
be happy for very long.
Well, he's about to get stabbed in the gut,
We
but
don't- she doesn't know
That's
that.
what
he doesn't know that.
That's what I wanted. I wanted to hear your
Yeah.
thoughts because watching it, I'm like,
it's
this.
a weird sequence.
It's a weird sequence, but it's not bad. It's
it's
just weird.
never struck me as weird.
I don't think it's weird.
I've
either.
seen this movie now 3 times. It's never bothered me once.
If I was that boy and that girl was in my place and she just started walking around my room without like saying, "Can I
Wouldn't
come
he
in?"
be staring at her?
Or
The only
Like-
Yeah.
thing that's
But-
weird
I'd be
is
like, "What are you doing?"
and you ask why he gives away his stuff, it worked. Hey, how about you take this and get the fuck out of my room, weirdo?
Yeah.
And then it worked out great.
it's being very nice.
Do you
Also,
want it?
It's like they understand. Like she's obviously not mute, but they think she's mute.
Yeah.
So that's also probably like he's
Oh,
handling her with
yeah.
kid gloves. So it's not
Yeah.
weird that she's not
I
talking.
like that. No.
Yeah.
I like that.
Which
Yeah.
they do address.
The moment we realize that she's not mute,
So good.
such a great
Oh,
moment. Like,
so
the-
great.
You can talk, and then she just explodes at him.
But I love that it's also in Spanish, so he
Oh,
still
yeah.
can't
Yes.
communicate.
Oh yeah, it's like, well, this isn't any
That
better.
was
She
the
It's
one
more
time
annoying.
understands
where
English.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the fucks because he's like, "No, shut the fuck up." Like, that was funny.
That was really just like you opened a lid on something. Like, no, put it back. Oh, it doesn't fit now.
You asked what else. I wanted to bring up two of my favorite things, like that car chase around the desert with the fence.
Awesome.
Yes.
Was phenomenal. I was in my. I mean, I wish if you had video, you could see my face was just like a stupid happy face. I kept
Yeah.
looking
I
at
love it
everyone
when
around me like,
the-
you guys, this scene is so great. It's been. I feel like the last time I saw a car chase scene that was inventive, it was We Own the Night. Because that's an entire chase scene filmed from inside the car. So this is
Okay.
like, I was just thinking as I was watching this, I was like, this is the most creative car chase I've seen in a very long time. And using that fence as a weapon was
Yeah, that's awesome.
I just always
cool.
love it in movies when they don't actually get through the fence.
Right. Yeah. That's
like
Yeah.
like horrible
so brilliant.
bosses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the horrible bosses. scene. Yeah.
But that's a really great like when you're writing an action scene, one of the best things to do is just like, oh, I think this is gonna work. Nope, this made things worse. Oh, now we can use it to make things better. Nope, it just made things worse. And that was the case. Like, oh, we can't get through the fence. Now it's a weapon. Oh shit, we're stuck. You know, like, and it was back and forth like that, which made it so dramatic. And the other one was when we had that in the casino where he was where everyone was frozen and Wolverine was clawing his way toward him and like
Oh, yeah, that was
we didn't
awesome.
even talk about it.
We didn't talk
Wait,
about any
it's
of
a
this.
slow
His
motion
eyes
scene.
moving towards him, and
So
it's just like,
cool.
I'm gonna die. I can't do anything
Now,
about
here's
it.
something weird about that sequence. The first 2 times I saw it, I did not realize everybody was frozen.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
know why.
really?
I thought they were all just like being slowed down, and since he had like the healing factor, he wasn't as slowed down.
First time I saw it, last night I realized the other
Yeah,
one, but first time
'cause
I saw
it-
it, I thought
it-
everyone was just slower.
No,
Yeah, and it took me a second
everyone's
to. Oh, he used to freeze people all the time, so
Yeah.
he's just doing the same thing. It's just
And-
he doesn't have as much control, so he's killing them
And you
as
guys
he's
picked
doing
up on
it.
the reason that he doesn't have as much control over them is because their skulls are made out of adamantium, right?
Oh yeah, but I figured that. Yeah, for Laura and Logan. Yeah. Yeah, that made sense. I
Okay.
didn't know if it's because of the adamantium skulls.
no.
or if
I
they had
assume
healing.
that's why.
Wait. Well, I guess
It's
because of the
certainly-
They put
proximity.
adamantium on
Combo.
there. I guess they do.
Main
'Cause that's
bad guy
how
was actually still
Magneto
moving.
always
in the
got
truck.
No, he
shot
was
him out
stuck.
of
No,
head.
they
He
were
was
all
still.
stuck. He was just staring at the video.
Yeah, they were all
Remember
stuck.
him like move. Whatever.
I mean,
I mean, I assume it's maybe
X-Men,
it's a healing
fuck it.
factor too. I assume maybe it's a combination of the adamantium skull and
Yeah.
the healing factor that they don't have as much effect at that sequence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I love him going through the room and just like, all right, you're dead.
So-
You're dead.
Yeah, so I don't have to deal
Yeah.
with you later.
Such an awesome sequence.
It kind of mimics the well, I guess it's both movies in
Days of Future
X-Men
Past
First
with
Class and Days of
yeah.
Future
Yeah.
Past when they're doing the
the
it is Days of
Quicksilver?
Future Past. Yeah, with Quicksilver where
Yeah.
he like sets it up so as soon as
Yep.
time restores, they're all like, or not time. You know what I mean?
You mean,
Yeah.
guys
you
know
mean
what I mean.
Apocalypse? The one in Apocalypse with the.
Yeah, both of them. In Days of Future, he does it in Days of Future Past, and then in
Yeah, it's good.
Apocalypse,
And,
but yeah,
it's good in Days of Future Past. Apocalypse.
Apocalypse
It's,
felt like a
just like-
retread.
I need to
Let's
rewatch
force it in.
Apocalypse.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
hated that.
Anyhow, so was there anything else that we didn't hit on this thing? Because there's like I said, there's so much.
I'll say one last thing.
Yeah.
There's so many great things about this movie, and I think we spent a good chunk of time talking about the bad stuff. And that's, I think, for me anyway, it's hard to talk about a movie that you like so much because it's more interesting to talk about the problems.
Yeah, we're nitpicking it, but
Yeah.
overall, I think
But I've heard a coworker complained about the very last moment where she takes the cross and puts it to an X, and they
Really?
said
I
that was
like
cheesy.
that.
What?
Does
No,
anyone
that's
di-
great.
Okay, you
Yeah.
all, you're
Yeah.
all
That
right.
was- yeah, no, I agree with
That's
that.
Fuck that person.
I love that.
absolutely
That's
It's totally
necessary.
something a child would do to be like a homage.
Especially
thing.
if she's been
Right.
reading the comics.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that's
Yes, right.
our
That's a
moment
great
and
point.
her moment that he has become an X-Man again.
Yeah.
in his death and sacrifice.
Why
It's so
didn't
necessary.
Why didn't your coworker like it?
He's an idiot.
Okay.
Oh.
Now, okay,
Yeah.
now your coworker. Now here's something that I actually like about James Mangold that he did in both this one and a little bit in the Wolverine. He is not afraid to bring in very religious tones into his movies. Is your coworker possibly religious and didn't like the sacrilege of taking the cross and turning it into an X?
No, that
okay,
wasn't
that was
it.
because I've heard that complaint from people of like a
He
guy who
said
was like,
it was cheesy.
okay,
was
if it's
like, no,
cheesy, that's
fuck
different.
you.
I mean,
Yeah.
to have a small bit of cheese in a comic book movie is fine.
But it makes sense.
Yeah,
though.
and it's motivated and it works.
It's
so
also a child doing
I
it.
didn't-
so
Children are
basically, tell
cheesy.
your friend to
You
listen to
didn't-
this episode so
I
he can even
didn't-
say "fuck you"
Yeah.
because he's wrong.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I didn't see it. I didn't see it in the same sense that he is now an X-Men again. I
Oh, see,
saw
I
it
did.
as this is an X-Men. Like this is his designation, and he should be
Yeah.
recognized. And this
Yeah.
grave should be
Yeah.
recognized.
He's
as
definitely
X-Men.
not Christian.
Not that he's
Right.
become one and not become one, and now he's one again. It's just he's always been.
Well,
and
I
he
would-
should
I
be.
mean, yeah, he is Weapon X. I mean,
Yeah.
that kind of.
Yeah.
I guess
I
that's
also feel like it was a moment of real sweetness from a character who we've also been watching her journey from being this like tough badass, I'm gonna slice dudes' heads off, to like actually learning maybe a little bit what it's like to be a child. And
Yeah.
in that moment, it was almost childlike innocence of the like sweet, like she's not all tough as nails, you know. She's like, yes,
Right.
I cared
That's
about
what
this person.
I
and-
really liked with that her watching a movie in the hotel room and then memorizing the lines
Yeah.
already and then redoing it at
Yeah.
And
Logan's funeral thing. I don't know.
and
that was a good.
I also
children's
like that they
thing.
buried him near water, like he did for Xavier.
yeah.
That was kind of a nice touch.
Well, she buried him because she saw him bury
So,
her
yeah,
father.
yeah,
So
makes sense.
it's all this cycles. And just another thing on the cross too. I think that it's important because it shows that even though like this location that was made up in a comic book was fucking fake but totally real, it shows how
I mean, it's still an
'Cause
accurate
they made it
location.
real.
right,
They,
yeah,
they-
exactly. It's how they're choosing to kind of honor the legacy, and it has that bit of optimism in such a dank, dark movie. Like she still believes in heroes. She still believes there's good in the world. I don't know. I thought it was really.
That's probably what
good.
gave them all hope to get out of there in
Yeah.
the first place.
Yeah.
Was the idea that these and that's pretty cool too. And something I haven't really seen a lot of people talk about is that like the comic books are what gave them hope. That like
Yeah.
that because there's a lot of like, oh, comic book movies are so stupid, and it's like, well, to some people they're the reason they get
I
up
like
in the
that.
morning.
Yeah.
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 This is, I would argue, one of the smartest comic book movies we've gotten in a very long
and
time.
and when they
Well
look at
thought
the
out.
X-Men
Yeah.
comics, they're looking at potential parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're looking at who they want to, not even just potential parents, but like role models. Like
That's
we
what
are
I mean.
mutants,
they might have
are
been
mutants.
their parents. Specifically,
Oh, yeah.
Wolverine
Yeah.
was her
Well,
dad.
and you could one of them clearly was Iceman's kid.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Oh,
I assume
By
the
the
one
way-
kid with electricity was Storm's kid.
Yeah.
while we're
or-
talking about that,
Well,
I want to
Jubilee.
see. While we're talking about that, I want to see a spin-off of just those
Jubilee
kids
does
killing
fireworks.
people. Like
I would totally watch that.
Then that scene when the main antagonist dies and they're all just like looking over him, doing every power they could think of to kill him. I was just like, can we just see that a couple times over again? Like that's just cool.
Moment of being children when they redo his facial hair.
Oh my
Yes.
god! And they make him look classic.
It's
Yeah.
Classic comic book face.
That was
And when it's not funny. It's funny.
Great.
I just love the shitty scissors they had. Like one guy had like the toenail clipping scissors. He's like, it'll work.
Yeah, just that shot of all the arms
Yeah.
coming in. It's so funny.
Yeah. All right, I think it's time for quotes. Quotes.
Cool.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
And then I'll go.
Okay. I'm just terrified someone's
I only
gonna
have
take
one,
mine.
so I'm really afraid someone's going to take it.
I have 2.
Okay. Well, we didn't. I'm glad this is my quote because we didn't get a chance to really talk about Stephen Merchant as Caliban, and
Who was great.
Who was fantastic
He
in this
was.
movie.
Better Caliban than the other one.
And
When was Caliban in one of the other movies?
Apocalypse.
I don't remember that.
Olivia Munn's.
but don't
person.
they kind of refer to? I think you're thinking of someone else almost. Even.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, he says his name is Caliban.
No, but like. The antagonist comes up and is like, I think I read stories about you. He's like, I think you're thinking of someone else.
Yeah, but he's like Caliban doesn't like that. He always says it. Like anyway, it doesn't matter.
I'm
I-
looking it up now. It
Never
doesn't
mind.
matter.
Yeah.
But that's not my line either way. But no, my favorite line is that was my favorite mug. Because it comes at this perfect moment where they're arguing and it's really serious and it's like a real relationship or something. And my favorite part is that he says the line and we're on Logan. We don't. It's almost throwaway in that sense. Because if they had cut to him, it would have been cheesy. But because it's just on Logan, it's like perfect.
All right, Chewie.
Well, I already said my line actually, but and then the mutants went the way of polio.
It's such a good one.
Because I love it when you have lines that tell you the story without feeling like exposition. Like to me, that just felt like an explanation without being spoon-fed, like what I thought the other scene was. But
I really liked when Xavier said, "I'm not a box of avocados, Logan."
I just still didn't really understand that one.
I think it just meant you can't just keep carrying me across the country back of a truck. But like I loved that because it was just this honest moment where he's like, no, we're fucking spending the night here. Get over yourself. Like I'm an old man. But it was also this like real relationship moment between them just being people together.
Yeah.
Really cute.
Fuck off, Logan. I'm sorry. It's it's great. It made me the movie in itself, and I know we talked about how it's negative, was a reminder that this is not your standard X-Men film, and I really loved that reminder. Even though we didn't need it, I appreciated it.
First and foremost, Jason was right. It is the same character. If you click on it, it says appears in both
Just
movies.
way more posh.
Yes.
In
Oh, yeah.
So he got older and less posh and a little bit more Stephen Merchant-y.
They killed him in Apocalypse, though.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they killed him in
Well,
Apocalypse.
he survived.
Maybe there's more than one Caliban.
And also they
This
already-
is the one part where the timelines don't match. I don't think. 'Cause
Okay.
The one flaw in the X-Men timeline is that one character.
No,
Otherwise,
not,
it's flawless.
Not the fact that Patrick Stewart has a twin brother.
Oh no.
Oof.
Huh?
He has a twin brother, apparently.
Wait, what?
Patrick Stewart in the X-Men universe of the films have a twin brother. We can get into it after the podcast.
I haven't heard about that.
We'll do that later.
I'll
All right,
tell
so
you
my
after.
quote comes from the villain with the metal hand, and it's when they first meets Logan, and he talks about like how basically he was caught. Like people know he's back, and like they found a bunch of body parts, and they thought it was either an escaped tiger or Freddy Krueger,
yeah.
except neither of them can drive. One being fictional and the other extinct. And I love that.
Because Freddy Krueger's extinct now.
But that
the
world,
tigers are
that
extinct
world
in
building of
2029.
just like shit got worse and the tigers are now extinct.
Yeah.
Like that's such a great little thing that they just stuck
Yeah.
Yeah.
So smart.
in.
See? Like explanation without exposition.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Love
it's,
it.
It's so good.
I'd also like to give a shout out for I'm a glorified truffle pig, not a clairvoyant.
I also enjoy it when he said, "Oh, you saw Gabriella and you didn't call. That hurts."
That guy was good. What's
Yeah.
his name?
Fantastic.
Something
My
Boyd.
line was
If
not that
only
guy,
he
I
was
just
more
don't
villainy.
Yeah,
He was more like sidekick villainy.
yeah, it was okay. That was everybody, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so review system is going to be road trip movies.
remember.
Movies that go on the road.
I feel like now every
So-
every podcast I'm just going to name Mad Max Fury Road.
Elvis, I'm making you go first.
Okay. Well, if I'm going to compare Logan to a road trip movie, It's going to be a story that focuses on a father-child relationship and how they overcome things, and that's going to be a goofy movie.
Nice.
Oh, goodness.
Like, God, I don't know where the hell this is going. I just watched that like a month ago.
It's a great fucking movie.
It's really good.
Shit.
I've never seen it.
Oh, you're in for a treat.
I've never seen it either.
You're in for a treat. It's so good.
It is so much better than it has any right to be. Shit. Mine wasn't Goofy movie. But I have like 4 that are in my head, and I don't know the best one to go for. I'm going to go with The Perfect World. It's a movie with, how's his name? The guy from Waterworld.
Kevin Costner?
Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner is like a bank robber who takes like a kid hostage, and they go on a road trip. And it really, like, just tonality. It was directed by Clint Eastwood. It really kind of has the same feeling as Logan of like everything is doomed and terrible, but this kind of old gruff guy learns to become a better human being by spending time with a child. And those tonality things are really in there. And that was the first movie ever that made me cry. And this one got a tear out of me. Wow. But yeah, if you have not seen it, A Perfect World is fantastic. And I highly recommend it. Next.
Thelma and Louise.
I was expecting Mad Max Fury Road. I'm almost disappointed.
Well, okay. I mean, that was my first choice, but I was like, I just said it. Do I want to say it again for real?
You're welcome to.
Okay.
But if you
good,
want Thelma Louise,
because I just Googled really quick road movie. That's the one that came up, and I was like, oh yeah, that's a good one. But okay, actually, yes, Mad Max Fury Road, which fits for every movie apparently. Yeah, because it's violent and things go wrong and people die, and it's kind of about babies.
Sure, in a way, yeah.
Are you done?
Yes, I'm
I
done.
didn't know if you're done. Sorry. I'm sorry I was interrupting. Wristcutters.
Oh, that's a
That's
good
a
one.
road movie?
Yeah.
I've never
Yeah.
seen it.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It's all about people who are dead. And when they die and they go to a new place, it's not all that much better than reality. It's kind of about the same, but just a little worse. And they keep trying to find a place where magic happens and they can be happy and smile again, and it doesn't really happen. And they just kind of have to accept their situation. It's a good movie. If you've never seen it, Wristcutters. Very good film.
All right.
Yeah. I know how
Also
it ends,
very
but-
kind of depressing in one way.
Well, it's
And
called
happy in
Wrist
the-
Cutters.
yeah.
I would.
I mean, it's all about people that committed suicide and where they go.
All right, Jason, you think you got a handle on it?
Yeah. I mean, when I think road trip movies, I think Rat Race. Like,
Okay, yeah.
obviously,
Oh, nice.
that movie actually did make me cry.
Really?
I was laughing so hard.
Okay. The scene that take down the tower is one of the funniest scenes ever.
The tower, but the Hitler scene where he
Oh my
goes to the
God.
veterans,
Yep.
and it's and they say it's the Barbie Museum, and then the cut of just Klaus Barbie was the most. It was. That movie is still so great, and I don't ever want a sequel to come of it, even though that sounds like the kind of movie that would be a straight-to-DVD kind of sequel.
I mean,
like-
I'm fine if it goes straight to DVD. If they try to get my hopes up with like a legit sequel, I'd be more
Yeah.
upset.
But Rat Race, man, so good.
And not a lot of people have seen it.
Really?
Yeah,
I
I
had
bring it
never
up with
seen
people.
it until
yeah.
you made
I
me.
made Chewie watch it. It just killed me. I saw it 3 times in theaters. Loved it.
It was great.
Yeah. That's everybody, right? I'm keeping track. Right. All right, so that's it for today. That does bring all of this wonderfulness to a close. Next week, we have, I'm calling it a hidden battle because I can't think of a better name right now. But it is basically the same thing we did for Christmas last year, which was our Secret Santa battle, where we're all randomly getting movies assigned to us, and then we have to defend those movies as if they are the best. Last time I ended up with the worst movie on the table. I'm hoping for the same this time. All right, so you can check out Elvis's podcast, Tom Hanks Giving.
Yeah. Or check out TomHanksGiving.com.
Cool. Chewie, do you have anything to plug right now? Emily, do you still have any more episodes of Chicks Who Script coming out?
Someday.
Someday.
Maggie is so busy we can't schedule anything forever, but eventually we will do our last 4 episodes.
Tell Maggie to stop being successful.
I know.
She's
I
being
know.
super successful right now.
She is.
We're never going to get her on
It's
this
so
show ever again.
inconvenient.
Probably
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the meantime, I'm at the Emily Blake on Twitter, and if you need a script supervisor, you can hire me.
Luckily, people who need script supervisors listen to this show all the time. It's going to be great for your career.
Maybe.
Jason, do you have anything you need to plug?
I'm at the Jason Blagman. I realized I got it wrong. I don't know my own Twitter handle. That's how much I use Twitter. I'm at the Jason William, and I guess for Comic-Con, check out Rotten Tomatoes. Your Opinion Sucks, which is coming up at this summer's Comic-Con. if you're down there, go head to the Omnia nightclub. It'll be.
I really wish I was going to Comic-Con because I'd love to do that again. That was a lot of fun.
We're going to be doing, I can't talk too much in the details right now, but we're going to be doing a couple different fun things with the prizes and celebrity guests and stuff.
Awesome. Follow us, Twitter, ATH_podcast, everywhere else, ATH Podcast. Email us, ATH_podcast or ATHpodcast@gmail.com. One of the two will get to us. Our website, ATHpod.com, where we have everything going out there in the world. Thank you very much. Bye!
Bye.